That Kenya has suffered from the adverse effects of terrorism is not in question, but the controversial security laws adopted by Parliament before some of their provisions were annulled by the courts over what it cited as a breach of the Constitution appears to have created a wedge between the various arms of the government. Critics of the new law claim that the legislation would legalize highly intrusive surveillance methods without guarantees for individual freedom and privacy, a point of view that Government Chief Legal Advisor Githu Muigai says is erroneous.
Our security laws, 87% of those laws had nothing to do with limiting the rights of individuals. They had something to do with streamlining the judicial system and how we respond to problems of terror.
The Attorney General says the new security law seeks to deal decisively with criminal elements in the country and are cognizant of human rights. Speaking during a forum on terrorism, Professor Muigai echoed experts' opinion that religious leaders had a role to play in ridding the country of criminal elements.
I have said to the religious leadership of our country, please come so that we may reason together on one question. We must register religious institutions in a systematic and effective manner.
Then you want to ask ourselves, whom are we trying to protect? Is it some few individuals or is it the rest of the country? So that we get into this debate in a manner that is intended to protect and save the state and to protect the population.
Media and a section of civil society groups were also indicted for allegedly impeding the war on terror.
Conclusions of most of the human rights reports are dangerous to us and are actually dangerous to the overall objective of fighting terrorism. Because invariably, all of them end by saying they are appealing to such and such a government not to cooperate with Kenya in the fight for terrorism. I think that is a dangerous conclusion. The manner in which we report must be such that it is in support of the fight against terrorism rather than visiting terror further to Kenyans that are being terrorized.
During the forum, it emerged that competent approach cannot conclusively eliminate terror activities, hence the need to integrate religious groups, individual responsibility and intelligence networks in the fight against the virus.
Terrorism, from the very beginning, is a war of the mind. It's a war of ideas. It's a war of values. And where are those values first implanted? They're first implanted in our families. So a critical cog in the war against terror, a critical cog in the counter-terrorism strategy must be about what is happening with our families.
We need to have your involvement in this so that as we are doing our bit, we also need to address some of those social issues, socio-economic issues that we need to address.
We must begin at the bottom. We must begin with our families. We must begin within our communities, in our schools. We must think about defense as civil defense as well, and not think that we will fight this war and win it through the security forces only.
Kenya has suffered a series of terror attacks linked to Al-Qaeda allied group Al-Shabaab, with the latest attack at the Garissa University College claiming over 140 lives.